Okay, guys, we are on to the water pump on this rig. I didn't know if I was going to make a video on this or not, but I decided to. Before I get to the actual water pump, I'm going to talk about the vacuum pump and bracket assembly. You're definitely going to pull that out of your way. Also, you need to pull off the oil filter, and that's just a couple bolts here. There's, I think they're 15s. They are double. They got a stud and a nut on there. If you can see that or not. There you go. This one came out all together and started twisting this thing. I got creative and used a fast-moving impact, and it zipped it right off after that. And on this side as well. The bottom side, I believe, is a 13. That might be a 13. I could be wrong. But when you do the vacuum pump and the alternator, you're going to want to do the alternator first. There's two main bolts, two 15s, and then one on the very back of it that goes in the back here and through this bracket. You just unbolt it, clip your plug for the alternator on the bottom there. Once you have that loose, it'll all be able to really accessible. And then you have your 13 mil nut, and then you just pull the whole thing out. Comes right out. And then on your bracket assembly, there's going to be, I believe there was 4 bolts that hold this thing on. 2 main hold down bolts, one here and then one here, and then 2 studs that are part of the block, and you just put your nuts, take your nuts off, and the whole thing will slide right out. While you're doing this, I highly recommend changing your vacuum line. I have a new one. This customer has a aftermarket wastegate actuator that's a manual instead of the factory one. So we ended up ordering a whole new line because his was completely destroyed and was not working properly, and as you can see, is in pieces. It's all screwed up. So we got a brand new one, corked off one side so that we can properly use our mechanical wastegate actuator on this thing. Also gives it a little bit more boost, which is kind of cool. But that thing is going to route down to the vacuum pump that's going to be down here. Here's your wires that go to the alternator and all that stuff. They're really easy to get to. The plug as well. After I did that, got all that stuff out, started loosening everything. And one thing that makes life a lot easier is checking your gaskets beforehand, before you get into removing this thing. This pump is known to be, Hummer used a different one and GM used a different one, so I've had issues in the past with a couple of these, but there is one that works every time out of the 2 that come in this kit. This came, I believe, from Hummer Parts Guy. Guy's pretty good with all this stuff. Everything kind of matches up really well. As you can see, there's 2 different kinds of gaskets. This one's going to go to a plate that the pump actually bolts to. And if you look at it, you can see all different size holes. These 2 are different than these 2, and then there's different sizes all around the pump itself. So basically, you're going to have, when you're looking at the pump, mess this gasket up. So looking at your pump, you're going to have 2 10 mils on the bottom. You're going to have 15s all around the outside. 15, 15, 10s, and 15s. And then above this, which is right here, right around where your oil fill comes in, which is your oil fill here. These are all 13s that go around. There's one bolt that's kind of stuck in here still, and I'm seeing how it's going to come out. But I use a wire hose grabber. This thing's pretty slick. Just grabs your hose clamps, and then you can spin them right out of the way real easy. I haven't taken the last bolt out of this thing because I don't know if it's just going to fall out or what the deal is. But as you can see, there's a plate here that the pump actually bolts to, and then on the back side there's bolts on the inside. And then you kind of all take it apart once it's on the table here. So I'm going to pause it real quick and do that. Okay, so I got the pump out. It was actually a little bit easier than I thought it would be, which is really nice. As you can see, this thing goes right to the front of the engine. It might have coolant down in the oil. It's possible. more than likely going to drain the oil out of this thing and make sure it's okay. I just don't want to have to explain to this guy why he has coolant in his oil, because that would suck. So yeah, that's basically it. It's out now. I'll bring or show you the pump over here. So here's your pump, and there's all the bolts that bolt to the back of it. We have a brand new gasket for this whole backside, which is nice. We'll be able to take this and bolt it straight to the back of the pump with new gaskets and everything. This thing's gonna be a lot better. We got new fitting here too as well. So yeah, that's about it. I think I'm just gonna put it back together because it's all pretty self-explanatory as far as coming apart. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or anything you need to ask or whatever, let me know. Thanks.